Life is about perspective. At 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28 years old, I was stocking shelves and ringing up people for wine purchases at, there we go, wine purchases at a liquor store. Most people in their early 20s, greatest mistake is not understanding how young they are. As a matter of fact, as all of you are looking for jobs or figuring out a post-COVID world or sad that you missed graduation or spring break, the reality is you have 100 years of life in front of you. You haven't even started. Having it figured out by 25, 27, 30 is ridiculous. The anxiety that people feel at 30. As a matter of fact, it is literally D-Rock's 30th birthday today, and he's never felt younger because he's been in a cocoon of my world for the last half decade, right? You've never felt younger. Right, and these characters are 22, 23, 19, 20. You haven't even started. I don't want to hear that you can't get a job. Enjoy your vacation. Enjoy your vacation. And by the way, you have no money and you can't enjoy? Get 6 roommates. Like, you're a kid. Do not listen to your parents or society that you have to have it figured out. It's just not true. Most of your parents have not had it figured out ever, let alone at 22, 23. Take a breath. Be grateful that you're alive and are watching this video. Gratitude of what you have versus crying about what you don't have. Most of you are stressed about getting a job, and then you're gonna have a job in 6 months, and you're not even gonna like it. Take a breath. I gave up all my 20s to build a big wine store for my dad and mom. I spent my 20s into my early 30s getting underpaid for what I was doing for their business, because it's a family business, to set them up proper. And then at 34, kind of started the career that you know me for now. Think about that. 34. That's 100 years away. Millennials, you are sitting in the best spot. You are in the most fortunate spot. NFTs, social media, influencers, Shopify, commerce, Spotify, SoundCloud, creativity everywhere. People needing people that understand social everywhere. People needing people filming and recording and editing and writing everywhere. Entrepreneurship opportunity everywhere. And if you do everything wrong for the next 7, 8, 9 years, everything wrong, you're still then young to go conservative or safe or back to school or stop. People's relationship with time is their greatest vulnerability. And my great hope is I've changed the framework or started the spark or the seed for you to get much more thoughtful about the reality of you and your age and where you are in your life cycle. This doesn't mean be lazy and chill on the couch. Have ambition and conviction, but have patience and humility. You worrying about what everybody else thinks of your success is your vulnerability. Put these fingers in your ears, live for you, be high risk now because it's actually practical. Keep curious, keep patient, and keep conviction for doing it for you. Even though you love and respect other people's opinions, you have to do it for you. I think we grossly underestimate perspective. I really genuinely believe that life is exactly as you see it. I believe that there are inherently people who are cynical, and because of that, they're just going to believe things are not good or stacked against them. And I think there are people who are optimistic. I think there are people who are practical and delusional and all those things that I think many of you have heard about. I really think it's time we start talking about curiosity a little bit more. So I've become incredibly passionate about curiosity. I think that in self-reflection mode, so much of what works for me, there's many things that are part of the equation, there's many ingredients that get me there, but curiosity is not something I saw or really even understood as part of the equation. When I think of the collective in this room, something that is very obvious to me is in our current society, we start to demonize curiosity pretty quickly. We get a couple of years of it as a kid, but then just subconsciously, it's not some crazy agenda, but subconsciously, we start going into places that overvalue how it's been done, the black and white, the system. So much of what I've always felt as an entrepreneur was a vulnerability of a school system is not the cliche stuff that you might see in my content, but just by nature, all of us spending the majority of our youth in a system that grades us every 90 days, and we pander to a subjective reality within that, really sets us up to eliminate our creativity and our curiosity, makes us subconsciously conform to the short term, and inherently makes us lack patience. The other thing I'm spending a lot of time on is how much we struggle with our relationship in time and with time. We get sold so many things like life is short, which, I think all of us at this point know, depending on the context that you look at a statement or a situation, it changes the altercation. But so many of the rules in society of when you're supposed to have your life figured out, get married, accomplish, is predicated on a world where people live to 45 years old. It's just the reality of it. So much of what we're affected by is how our grandparents were affected by their parents and grandparents, and those dying at 40. Of course you should have your life figured out at 30 when you're dead at 47. But we haven't adjusted. 1880 may seem a long time ago, but it's stunningly not. And when life expectancy is in the late 30s and early 40s, and now we're 75, 85, 90, 95, I just think that there's so much confusion in the system, and I just think that we need to have different conversations. Let me give you an example. A different conversation that we need in the business world, that's where I'll keep it, but it's clearly a societal statement, is I'm genuinely struggling why anybody should not be kind. I have watched in the business world for the last 20 years, people justify being cruel to the people that they're a manager of or their admins because they're stressed. I'm sorry I scolded you, you don't get it, the client had me in a bad day. We have completely accepted bad behavior off of bullshit. I'm really passionate about this. If you're a leader by nature, your job is to stop pressure at your level, not deploy more of it underneath you. I think that we need to just do better. I think that people in business are confused. I think that the way that business is branded is misbranded. I think people think that if you're kind, you get walked over. And I think that is absolutely asinine. I think that a lot of people who claim they're being walked all over are actually just trying to manipulate situations, and it didn't work out the way they wanted to, so they use I got walked all over as an excuse. I'm kind as none of you are walking over me.